Hello, I'm Laura Donaldson with the Watson team. Thanks so much for joining us at this digital event where we're going to answer your AI questions. Joining me today, I have the CTO of Watson, Rob High. Thanks so much for joining me.
Hello.
And the VP of Implementations, Toby Capello.
Hello.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to this.
Sure.
Rob, I know that a lot of us, when we're thinking about AI, we're thinking about consumer AI, so that AI that's on our phones or in our homes and devices. What's the difference, though, between that consumer AI and business AI?
Yeah, and actually there are some similarities as well, which is largely stems from the experiences that we gain when we're using our smartphones. You know, for those of us who use smartphones in our daily life, or we've got these at home, we're creating sort of some expectations around the experiences that are useful to us and meaningful to the way that we operate. Those same properties are things that we bring with us into work as well. So we do have an expectation about the experiences that we're looking for when we're at work. But there are some differences, and they start with, recognizing that at work, oftentimes we're involved with business processes. These processes may be the ways in which we engage with our clients. There may be ways in which we get through the tasks and responsibilities that we have that we're accountable for at work. They may have something to do with the way that the business is trying to move itself forward. And so these business processes are really pretty essential, and it's important that we integrate AI into those business processes. Now, of course, it's also important to understand that what AI is doing is opening us up to sources of information that classically have not been integrated into these business processes in the past. So we really shouldn't be thinking about AI that just sort of plugs into business process, but how do you rethink the business process to take advantage of the AI brings to the table?
So almost embedding it into their workflows, like putting it at the fingertips of the employee or the individual?
Well, putting it into that flow in such a way that it gains advantage. So if you think about AIs that are able to read literature, read materials that today, have to be read by human beings. When you consider the number of articles that are out there, the number of papers, the number of reports, the number of contracts, the number of documents that we all have to consume, typically is far more than what we can as individuals possibly consume. So if I can engage an AI in that process of actually extracting from those articles the things that are important to me in the context of the problem that I'm trying to solve, now I've gotten an advantage. If I can use AI to help me see through my own biases or to perspectives that I may not have considered before, now I'm able to actually make better decisions because I can now consider those alternatives within that decision process.
But there's also another element to AI for business. As Rob was talking about, this mass amounts of information that an AI system can go through is fantastic if you have it. But what if you don't? If you're building something for your business domain, for your data, which is a key tenet for what we're doing with IBM, you need to be able to have that AI system learn, be productive, and provide value for you with the minimal amount of information you can give it instead of having to worry about the maximum amount of information. I think that's another key as well.
Yeah,
okay.
We've been spending a lot of time really focusing on how do we train these systems with a minimum amount of training data, knowing that it may not be available to you, right? You just simply may not have it. Now, of course, if you do have data, it's your data. And, we need to make sure that you understand that at work, your data is your data. We protect your responsibility and your rights to the data that you have, and really respect that by the way that we secure the data, the way that we avoid having to train with other people's data and allowing you to protect your own data when we do that, by simply making sure that we don't siphon that data off for any other purpose.
And that's at top of mind, right? I think right now for a lot of people is security and privacy of that data. So for IBM, that seems to be a big pillar, really, when you think about it. How did you say we are protecting it?
Yeah,
how are we doing that?
Yeah, it's really kind of core to our DNA. First of all, because we have been an international businesses machine company for so long, we work with enterprises. We know their sensitivities, and we recognize they need to be able to protect their data. So we do a lot of our work in the IBM Cloud. The IBM Cloud has been built specifically to maintain the protection and security of data, to maintain isolation between different institutions that may be using our cloud or using our technologies in the cloud, and we carry that all the way through to everything that we do.
Okay, so if I'm kind of summing that back up, it sounds like the three differences between consumer and business AI really come back to like embedding into the workflows, putting AI at the fingertips of the person or the employee when they need it, where they need it, so they can get the vast amount of information faster.
That's right.
It's learning from less data,
Yes.
so that you're really able to get started faster and work on those training models. And then finally, the protection of that data so that it stays with you and doesn't go anywhere else.
That's right.
Does that sound right? Okay.
Absolutely.